Good morning, dear friends, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship at Stony Brook, located on the ancestral lands of the Shuttlecock people. My name is June Cerveni, and I'm happy to be your worship associate this morning, leading the service along with Sister Janet Kinney, the director of the Long Island Immigration Clinic. Our director of religious education is Deb Little. Our musicians this morning are Linda Cortese, Rich Hall, and Tom Pelletier, and also Bethany Riddle playing our hymns this morning. Our tech team is Dan Weymouth and Rob Pond. I welcome you wherever you are this morning, whether here in our sanctuary or attending virtually. We are one congregation worshiping together. So let's all wave to the folks at home through the camera at your left. Hi there. And a very special welcome to those of you who are here for the first time. We are glad that you are with us, and we look forward to getting to know you. If you are comfortable, please raise your hand so that we can greet you personally after the service. Welcome. Please plan to join us after the service for coffee and conversation. And for those of you who are with us online, if you sign off after the service and return to our website, you will find a link for joining our small group chat. Whether here or online, there are some friendly folks who can answer any questions you might have. In sharing our joys and sorrows at any time during this service, please feel free to come forward to the table on the left and place a pebble in the water. A kind word or a thoughtful act, like a pebble dropped in the water, sends ripples out into the world. Should you wish to make a promise or let go of one, remember someone, or otherwise mark an important event or occasion, you may quietly send your thoughts outward as you drop your pebble, mingling the ripples of your intention with the ripples of other people in our community. I would ask that you silence your cell phones so that we may be attentive to this time that we share together. And a gentle reminder from our stewardship chairs that the stewardship dinner is next week. Please RSVP to Joanne Hammer. And before we enter into worship together, Laura Lesh and Laureen Stidd have a special announcement from your worship associates.
So, friends, your worship associates have been hard at work, as you know, planning worship services that will be special for everybody. And while I know it's hard to believe that the cold, which has enveloped us these past several weeks, will ever end, but we have it on good authority that this summer will indeed be coming. That means it is time to plan for our summer services. For those who have joined us since last summer, we have a long history in this congregation of summer services based on a common theme and led by lay members of our congregation. So as we do every February, we sat with this fact at our recent WA meeting and asked ourselves, what is a theme that will speak to us all? What are we all struggling with that we might want to dive into this summer for inspiration to live into the principles and the values of our faith, for spiritual nourishment, for acceptance of our differences and that which we cannot control, for the resilience we all need to cope with our difficulties, our doubts, our fears, and most of all, for hope. And we decided that the universal issue we would all benefit from exploring is change. Go ahead. No, not giving cues. As illustrated here so beautifully by Wendy Engelhardt, and I know some of you in the back probably can't see it well, so I'm going to just tell you about it. This is a lovely drawing of a tree depicted in all 4 seasons. Change is within each of us and surrounding all of us constantly. Change, I dare say, is inevitable as death and taxes. And while we all yearn for something steadfast which we can hold onto and count on, recently change seems to be coming at us and from within us and from around us like machine gun fire. So we unanimously decided, and that itself is a change, believe me, that this year our summer theme will be Our summer theme this year will be adapting to change, nourishment, acceptance, resilience, and hope. We are asking all of you to think about this. This is your chance to share your stories, your experience, your wisdom, and yourselves. This is your chance to know and to be known. The full information about how to submit a proposal to lead one of our summer services will be in the March newsletter. All of the worship associates are eager to answer your questions and help you make this our best summer ever. But really, it's up to you. Thank you.
Let us now enter into the sacred space of worship with the sounding of the morning bell. May the vibrations open our hearts and our minds and bring us fully into this moment.
Crops are all in and the peaches are rotting. The oranges are packed in their creosote dumps. They're flying them back to the Mexican border. They spend all their money to wait back again.
My father's own father, he waded that river. For they took all the money he made in his life. My brothers and sisters came working the fruit trees. They rode on that truck till they broke down and died. Goodbye to my Juan, goodbye Rosalita. Adios, mi amigos, Jesus and Maria. You won't have a name when you ride that big airplane. All they will call you will be deportee.
Some of us are illegal and some are not wanted. Our work contract's out and we've got to move on. 600 miles to that Mexican border. They chase us like outlaws, like rustlers, like thieves.
We died in your hills, we died in your deserts. We died in your valleys, we died on your plains. We died neath your trees and we died in your bushes. Both sides of that river, we died just the same. Goodbye to my Juan, goodbye Rosalita. Adios, mis amigos, Jesus and Maria. You won't have a name when you ride the big airplane. All they will call you will be deportees.
The sky plane caught fire over Los Gatos Canyon. A fireball of lightning, it shook all our hills. Who are all these friends who are scattered like dry leaves? The radio said they were just deportees.
Is this the best way we can grow our big orchards? Is this the best way we can grow our good fruit? To fall like dry leaves and rot on the topsoil, be called by no name except deportees. Goodbye to my Juan, goodbye Rosalita. Adios, mis amigos, Jesus and Maria. You won't have a name when you ride the big airplane. All they will call you will be deportees. Oh, goodbye to my Juan, goodbye Rosalita. Adios, mis amigos, Jesus and Maria. You won't have a name when you ride the big airplane. All they will call you will be deportees.
I have asked Peggy Fort to light our chalice this morning. And I don't see her, so maybe Sarah Lutterby would come forward and do that. We light this chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, and we contemplate these words from our three faith traditions that inform us. From the book of Leviticus: when strangers sojourn with you in your land, you shall do them no wrong. They shall be to you as natives among you, and you love them as yourself, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. And this from Surah Al-Nur in the Quran: and let not those who possess dignity and ease among you swear not to give to the needy and to the refugee for the cause of God. And this from the letter of the Apostle Paul to the Hebrews: be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unaware. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join in singing our first hymn this morning, which is number 18 in the gray hymnal, What Wondrous Love.
Love is this, oh my soul. Beloveds, I want to encourage you to come with your children to the stewardship dinner. We have a lot of fun planned for the kids in back, so please sign up and tell us that your children will be coming. That's my daily announcement, which I never make. Oh. I have to say that I had a lot of trouble choosing a story for today. The opening song, Woody Guthrie's Deportee, expresses a lot of the emotions I have about this particular historical moment. There are people among us, people in our congregation, who are being targeted by the federal government at this moment. My own daughter, Mina, who you all know well, is carrying her passport everywhere because they've decided to deport Indians back to India. Basically, it's a race war against anyone who is brown or black. And I would say that our faith calls each of us to step up and resist and support everyone who's in this country. And to that end, there are these wonderful things called red cards. Some of you I know have heard of them. They are Know Your Rights cards, and there's a bunch of them in a bowl in the foyer. If in your travels in the world you happen to meet people who are at risk of being identified by ICE, and I'll tell you, one of Mina's adopted Guatemalan friends was stopped in Patchogue. So she managed to not be picked up, but people have to know their rights. Please, if you in your travels see people, take some of these cards. We'll try to bring more in so that they're available. I imagine a lot of you know young people here as DACA recipients. They're not safe. Citizens are not safe because ICE doesn't care who they grab and who they deport. And there's news about citizens also being deported. We are at a moment of great evil in this land, and I beg all of you to step up in this moment. And to that end, the story today is also about a deportation, but from the child's perspective. The book is called Mango Moon. There's a full moon out tonight. Papi called it a mango moon the last night we stood on the porch together. We watched the bright orange ball, the color of the slice of mango in my hand, rise in the sky. The chill catches my shoulder without Papi's arm around me to keep me warm. But I stay anyway, because this will be the last night I will welcome the moon from my porch. Everything changed the day they came to Papi's work and took him away. Mama picked us up from school with her eyes all red. Maricela and Manuel, she said, your Papi won't be coming home for a while. She told us it was all right for us to cry, and she did too. After that, Mama couldn't pick us up from school anymore because she had to get another job. We took the school bus home instead and couldn't play outside with our friends after school. Mama said we had to stay in the house and lock the door to make sure that we were safe until she got home. That was months ago. Now there are boxes all over the house. We're moving. Mama says she doesn't make enough money, even with her second job, to pay for everything by herself. The swing set Papi made for us has to stay behind. He won't be here to push me on the swing one last time before we leave. We're going to move in with mi tios and cousins for a while. It will be fun to share a bedroom with my cousin Malena, but I'm sad that I have to change schools and say goodbye to all my friends. Mama says we're lucky. She met other moms when she visited my dad, who had no places for their families to go when they had to move. I get to stay on my soccer team, but it feels different now that Poppy isn't our coach anymore. I miss hearing him cheer and laugh when we score a goal. Last week was my birthday. I was 10 years old. Friends came to our house and we had balloons and cake and presents and even a bouncy house. But Poppy wasn't there to pull the rope for the piñata up and down as we tried to hit it. So it wasn't the same. A mean boy at school said, "They took your dad away because he did something bad." It made me feel sad and mad at the same time. Mama says Papi never did anything wrong, he just didn't have papers. I don't understand why they would send him so far away because of some papers. I got scared and asked if they could take Mommy away too, or even me and my brother. She said my brother and I were safe because we were born here, and that she had a special card that kept her safe. I wish they'd give Poppy a card so he could be safe with us too. They have kept Poppy in a place far away from us for a long time. He said it wasn't a good place for children to see, so Mama goes by herself on a bus to visit him. Even though it wasn't Valentine's Day, I cut a heart out of red paper and wrote, "I love you, Papi," on it for Mama to give to him. Papi writes me little notes that come in the mail with letters to Mama. It is exciting to get my own mail, but I would rather have my dad here instead. I keep all the notes in a jewelry box I got for my birthday, and when I miss Papi a lot, I take them out and read them again and again. Mama says they will be sending Papi to live in another country very soon. I'm scared because I heard her and my aunt talking about how they left that country because it was too dangerous. My stomach has been hurting a lot lately. Doctor said I wasn't really sick. He said it was because of all the changes and from missing my dad so much. Mama is worried about me, but how can I stop missing my dad? She tells me love is like the orange moon, that Papi and I feel its glow no matter where we are. The orange moon is high in the night sky now. I wonder if Papi is thinking about me too, under the same mango moon. Amen. So now I would ask you to turn to the back of your hymnal for the Reeb Children's Benediction, and we'll sing the children out. Kelly and I will be teaching the little ones, and Jamie and Dan will be teaching in the middle school. So all of the kids can stand up and go to the back door, and we can start to sing. Thank you.
Our opening words this morning are a responsive reading by Julia Hamilton, found on Worship Web. Now, this is printed in your order of service. So we'll have the left side of the room begin with the italicized words, and then the right side of the room will read the regular type. So we can start. They say I am illegal. system. And enriches us all. But can you remember a mother braved hardship and danger to bring her baby safely to this world? Can you deny Mary or Maria the right to fight We may not all wear boots, we may have come from many countries, and yet we are alike. But you are not diminished if I am raised up. Humanity is interested. Life is not a zero-sum game. Let us enter into a time of meditation with the poem Holy Quiet by the Reverend Julian Jimenez Soto. After her words, we will enter a period of silence, and then Bethany will bring us out of our silence to sing hymn number 123, Spirit of Life. We will sing it first in English. The words are in the gray hymnal at 123. And then in Spanish, Fuente de Amor, and those words are on your order of service. If you do not know this hymn by heart, you might want to open your hymnal right now on your lap so that you are ready when it is time to begin singing. Let us begin. My prayers for these stressful days have become sharpened, unadorned. A single word to the bereaved and wailing Mother God: mercy. 2 words to the infant child God, on trial in an unjust system: tender love. And for the God who is not a white-robed, bearded father, but a migrant laborer daddy with a red baseball cap who only cries when he thinks no one can see him. Not a word, but a silent squeeze of his calloused hand to telegraph reconciliation, wholeness. There was a time when more words brought comfort, but now my heart wants most to be true. Ready for resistance by unapologetic clarity and fueled by moving forward toward a future in which we have made all of us free. It is our spiritual practice to share our offering plate with an organization working for social justice in the world. Our shared plate recipient for the month of February is the Long Island Immigration Clinic. This organization, located in Brentwood, is committed to being a welcoming presence to all undocumented immigrants who live here on Long Island and who need their support and services. In just a moment, Sister Janet will tell us more about their mission. The clinic aids individuals in gaining legal status to remain in the country through the work of volunteers and attorneys who assist in the task of preparing asylum petitions and educating people concerning their legal rights. At the beginning of the service, our hymn reminded us of the wondrous love that cares for those most in need of it. That love is made real in the world through organizations such as this. Please give with generosity. Members, please come forward to take the offering.
When holding your breath is safer than breathing, when letting go is braver than keeping, when innocent words turn to lies, and you can't hide by closing your eyes, when pain is all that they offer, like a kiss from the lips of a monster. You know the famine so well, but never met the feast, when home is the belly of a beast. The ocean is wild and over your head,
and the boat beneath you is sinking.
Don't need room for your bags, hope is all that you have. Say the Lord's Prayer twice, hold your babies tight. Surely someone will reach out a hand and show you a safe place to land. Oh, imagine yourself in a building, up in flames, being told to stand still. The windows wide open, this leap is on faith. You don't know who will catch you, but maybe somebody will. The ocean is wild over your head,
and the boat beneath you is sinking.
Don't need room for your bags, hope is all that you have. Say the Lord's Prayer twice, hold your babies tight. Surely someone will reach out a hand and show you a safe place to land. Oh, be the hand of a hopeful stranger, a little scared but you're strong enough. Be the light in the dark of this danger till the sun comes up. Be the hand of a hopeful stranger, a little scared but you're strong enough. Be the light in the dark of this danger till the sun comes up. Be the hand of a hopeful stranger, a little scared but you're strong enough. Be the light in the dark of this danger till the sun comes up. 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 Till the sun comes up.
We acknowledge these pebbles, which we see creating ripples in the water before us. May these ripples carry our shared joys and sorrows, reminding us that we are connected and we hold each other in love and support. It is my pleasure to introduce today's service leader, Sister Janet Kinney. Sister Janet serves as the director of the Long Island Immigration Clinic and brings to this role over 40 years of leadership in highly effective, not-for-profit human services in New York City and Long Island. Sister Janet was a driving force in the creation of the Long Island Immigration Clinic, overseeing volunteer immigration attorneys and a dedicated cadre of volunteers and professional staff. The clinic assists in the completion of immigration applications for asylum, also applications for employment work authorizations, and other related paperwork. The clinic became operational in 2022, and today it has served over 3,000 individuals and families. A sister of St. Joseph of Brentwood since 1987, Sister Janet has served in a diversity of roles in support of vulnerable persons, including the oversight of a non-governmental organization at the United Nations, which advocated on behalf of immigrants and refugees, direct service at the United States-Mexico border in Brownville and El Paso, Texas, and agency leadership for 22 years at Providence House, a housing and services organization directed toward women and children who are impacted by poverty, homelessness, and incarceration. Sister Janet has served on numerous educational, social services, and healthcare boards in Metro New York, and has been a nun on the bus with Network, a national Catholic social justice lobby that travels across the country advocating for public policies that would benefit low-income individuals. Most recently, she has traveled with Network to get out the vote in 2024. Sister Janet holds a master's degree in public administration from New York University and a master's in theology from the Seminary of the Immaculate Conception. And she has been the recipient of many awards for her exemplary service. We are very grateful to have Sister Janet with us this morning to tell us more about this good and necessary work.
Bring this up a little. Thank you all, and it's wonderful to be with all of you on this beautiful sunny day, and especially thank you for the wonderful musicians. I love the music, thank you. And I don't know if you all are aware, but the UU Fellowship has given a number of grants to our immigration clinic through the administrative conduit of the New York Community Trust. So that, as well as your personal donations, have been really just so much help to the work that we do. You know, when June asked me to come and speak to you today, it was early December before this new administration took office. And who knew all the executive orders and the actions that would, come out and be signed several weeks later, many that have had a huge impact on our immigrant brothers and sisters, as well as other vulnerable populations. Yet I am grateful today because I sense in front of me a sympathetic and supportive congregation whose faith principles begin with that one, the belief in the inherent worth and dignity of every person. How that belief is so badly needed to be proclaimed from the rooftops in our American society today. To remind ourselves and others of the responsibility we share to care for one another and to speak up as we watch so many programs being cut, policies rolled back that are impacting on thousands upon thousands of lives. And so we all certainly have our work cut out for us. But that said, I want to give you something hopeful to think about. And that's the story of how the Long Island Immigration Clinic came to be, what it is, and what it has become. Because for me, I see the vision of our clinic as holy work, which was from the very beginning a vision built on partnerships, a partnership with immigration advocates, organizations, and congregations right here on Long Island. And I want to give a shout out to Deb Little, who I think is away with the wee ones, because she was part of our original steering committee. And I still have all the flow charts that Deb put together. And anybody knows Deb, very organized, right? That's Deb for you. But she was one of that founding group, there were 9 of us, that started during the pandemic. Many, many, many phone calls. And these partners rolled up their sleeves and got to work to put together the program that we operate today on the Sisters of St. Joseph campus in Brentwood. And some of you might be familiar with that area. And we're a pro se clinic, as you heard, predominantly volunteer-driven. We have over 90 active volunteers today with a professional staff of 6 of us. We're based on a successful model that was located in New York City that actually had started during the first Trump administration and had been used by some of us to help immigrants here on Long Island, most who couldn't afford an attorney. So we were bringing people into Manhattan, and as you know, it's 60 miles from here into Manhattan? So quite a trek. So before our clinic happened, there was nothing like us here out on Long Island. And now it's hard to believe we've come up on our 3rd anniversary. But what makes the clinic so special to me is its people. It's the volunteers, it's the immigrant friends, the staff, who have created a caring community that looks out for one another. People remark when they come in the door, they feel the peacefulness and the serenity from the moment they walk in the door. Now, it could be partly because the space where we operate our clinic sessions, which is a room probably as large as this space, used to be a Catholic chapel. Now, no longer. It's actually the chapel that I first started my journey as a sister of St. Joseph. So I said, oh, my life is beginning again. But anyway, it's beautiful space, and there's still some religious artifacts that, believe it or not, are very soothing to the people that come, because many of them come from some sort of faith tradition, and certainly from the Latin American countries, many are Christian. So they feel very safe. They feel very safe with us. And I said to you, we're volunteer-driven. So people like yourselves, they come and they go through an orientation, learn about asylum law, the applications, and after that orientation, and we give them a lot of materials, they usually shadow an experienced volunteer before being assigned to a team of 4 volunteers, each who have a very specific role. One is the computer navigator that puts the information into the application. We have a note taker who's listening carefully for things we want to follow up on. They have an interpreter, and then we have a researcher, because we have to research the country conditions from where they're coming. And that's really critical in helping to demonstrate their reasons for asylum. And completing one of these full applications could take up to 6 sessions. There's a misnomer out there that, people walk across the border and bingo, they're given asylum. And that's not the case. They have to prove that they meet the conditions for that. And not everyone does. It's a rigorous process. And our sessions, we have 2 immigration attorneys of our own, and then we have a volunteer immigration attorney who helps oversee our clinic sessions. We have a rotating group of volunteer immigration attorneys who are wonderful, truly wonderful. Now, sometimes our immigrant friends, they come to us late in the process, and in order to apply for asylum, you have to apply within a year. So if they're very close to their filing deadline, there's no way we can complete that huge 150-page application that we send in. I mean, it's tremendous. So what we'll do is we'll file the first 12 pages applications, which then at least lets them meet that filing deadline. And that's all you need to do to get at least the process going. And once it's filed, we watch their filing deadlines, watch their court dates, and once they become eligible, which is at 180-day mark, they can file for a work permit. So 6 months after their application is filed, they can then file for a work permit. And I need to mention that everything that we provide is free. So that's why your donations are so important to us. Now, because the courts are so woefully backed up, 3/4 of the applications we've filed since we began are still waiting, have not been fully adjudicated by the courts. But I will say to you that the 3/4 of those that have gone through the whole process, 2/3 of them have gotten some type of humanitarian relief. Some of them it's asylum, some it's, there's a couple other humanitarian programs that they become eligible for so that they can remain legally in this country. But again, it's an arduous process. And while they're going through that process, because the vast majority can't afford an attorney, we connect them to what we call an accompaniment program in Manhattan. There's another volunteer program there. So when we know that someone has a court date, and all the courts are in Manhattan, so most of our volunteers live out this way, and it would be a hardship, particularly for those who are working. So we connect with them, and then there's a volunteer that will accompany them to court, and typically that same volunteer will follow through with every hearing, which is really great because then they develop a relationship with that other person. And again, they're not an attorney, but they're really a supportive arm. And they're also very helpful for us because, say, if something comes up in the hearing, they can let us know as well. So I don't have to tell you that their stories are heart-wrenching. So I share just one of them, very similar to that poignant story we heard a little earlier. And this is a true story with a name changed. My name is Anna. I am 30 and was born in Peru. I have an 11-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old son. I was persecuted because I decided to speak up about women's rights. Unfortunately, femicide is very common in Peru, the murder of women. I marched twice supporting the feminist movement, Ni Uno Menos, no one less. After I marched, I started getting random phone calls with death threats, asking for information on the march organizers. So I stopped going to the protests. But the phone calls continued, and they escalated. And I even got a text message with a picture of my daughter leaving school. On my daughter's birthday, I was abducted and abused again and again by men seeking information about the organizer of the marches. I told them I didn't know, I was no longer going, yet these men took turns with me again and again and again, tied my body and sexually assaulted me time and again. After this attack, they left me shoeless in a park. And fortunately, I was able to go to the hospital and report the rapes to the police. However, the police did nothing, no follow-up on the investigation. And so I took the treacherous journey, and now I am here. I'm asking for asylum because Peru is not a safe place for me or my children. They did nothing to protect me, and I fear the same will happen to my children. I fear for our very lives. And unfortunately, there are many Annas that we see at the clinic. The trauma, the violence that they and their children have experienced. No one goes with the clothes on their backs on an arduous journey for several weeks, months, if there wasn't something they were fleeing. And they're here because they're only seeking a safe and better life, and we are so humbled to walk with them. And as I've done this work and seen these folks, I I became familiar with the work of a woman, Valerie Carr. I don't know if any of you know of her. She's a Sikh woman who by profession is an attorney and activist, and she's the leader of something called the Revolutionary Love Project, a project which was inspired by her faith when a Sikh father and family friend was the first person murdered in hate violence in the aftermath of 9/11. And this event impacted her so deeply that it has framed her life and activism since then. And I think you'll see the connection with the quote I want to share with you, which has really been so meaningful for me in this work that I do with our immigrant friends. Bless you. And she says, "What has become an ancient spiritual truth is how increasingly verified by science we are all indivisibly part of one another. We share a common ancestry with everyone and everything alive on this earth. The air we breathe contains atoms that have passed through the lungs of ancestors long dead. Our bodies are composed of the same elements created deep inside the furnace of long dead stars. We can look upon the face of anyone or anything around us and say, as a moral declaration and as a spiritual, cosmological, and biological fact, you are a part of me I do not yet know." I say that again. You are a part of me I do not yet know. When we think about all the divisiveness we see around us, what if our neighbors, our communities, our political leaders took pause and thought about that statement? It would certainly change the way we looked at our immigrant brothers and sisters, wouldn't it? Not to mention all the other vulnerable populations that we also know are struggling right now. Valerie speaks of this revolutionary love as the call of our times, at the only way we will birth the world we dream is a shift in culture and consciousness, a way of being and seeing that leaves no one outside our circle of care. No one. A revolution of the heart. Now, we all know that these are challenging times we live in and that the current negative climate has had a huge impact on the immigrant brothers and sisters that I serve. We now see some of them, they're afraid to go out, afraid to send their children to school, and they'll ask us, do I still have to go to my court hearings? And we implore them, we say yes, because if you don't, you will get an automatic deportation order. Recently, we've been, sensing that this was coming back in December, we started to sponsor Know Your Rights sessions, and those little red cards you saw, we handed them out to everyone on our entire campus because we have other programs that serve refugees. And we have materials ready at the clinic and at our orientation sessions because we want them to be prepared for what already is happening and lies ahead. So the days ahead will require our strength, our courage, and I know we can't do this work alone. I know personally that it is the strength of the community that sustains me, my volunteers, the staff, and the people that come to us every day, particularly when we're barraged nearly daily by another news headline, another government action, or a narrative that discriminates against and causes unnecessary suffering. And it's not just our migrant and refugee brothers, we know there's so many others. I just want to end with a quote taken from a letter from our dear Pope Francis, who, as we know right now, needs our prayers. And this was a letter he just wrote earlier this month to the American Catholic bishops, who we need to do some heavy lifting as well, after watching what's happening in our country. And what he says is the major crisis that is taking place in the United States with the initiation of a program of mass deportations. And Pope Francis states, "The true common good is promoted when society and government, with creativity and strict respect for the rights of all, welcomes, protects, promotes, and integrates the most fragile, unprotected, and vulnerable. This does not impede the development of a policy that regulates orderly and legal migration. However, this development cannot come about through the privilege of some and the sacrifice of others. What is built on the basis of force and not on the truth about the equal dignity of every human being begins badly and will end badly." Wise words. So as we go forth later this morning, may all of us here be partners in this revolutionary love. May we call to recreate a society that is more inclusive, that is respectful of each person's dignity, because our faith demands no less of us. Thank you. And so now I would like to invite the congregation into the singing of our final hymn. To join, whether in body or in spirit, our final hymn is De Colores, number 305 in the gray hymnal, and we'll be singing verses 1, 2, and 3, and then the first verse in Spanish. So De Colores, number 305. And now, as our time together comes to an end, we extinguish our candle, the chalice, and offer this benediction, which is adapted from a prayer for refugees by the U.S. Catholic Bishops' Conference. And so we pray. Source of all love, help us with grace to banish fear from our hearts, that we may embrace each child as our own, to welcome migrants and refugees with joy and generosity while responding to their many needs, to realize that all people are called to the holy mountain to learn the ways of peace and justice, to share in our abundance as a banquet is spread before us, to give witness that all people are loved as we celebrate the many gifts they bring. We give praise and thanks for the family which has been called together from so many people. We see in this human family a reflection of the divine unity, and may it be so. Amen. And as our service concludes, let's give one last wave and say goodbye to the folks online. Bye.
This song was written by a local musician and wonderful songwriter, Hank Stone. Some of you might have seen him at Grounds and Sounds. Hank has given us permission to play his song, so we're thrilled.
I think we gotta go a little faster, right?
Okay, yeah. I was not born here, but this is my country. I work with my neighbors. I am part of the community. I send a little money back home to my family. I was not born here, but this is my country.
I was not born here, but this is my country. I love the Constitution. I used to dream about democracy. My children were born here. We're an American family. I was not born here, but this is my country.
This is my country, just as sure as it is yours. It's a land of bridges and opening doors. This is my country, heard the lady of the harbor call, proclaiming liberty and justice for all. I was not born here, but this is my country. There are givers and takers, every society. I pay taxes and Social Security. I was not born here, this is my country.
I was not born here, but this is my country. Ask me and I will tell you about my flight from tyranny. I lost my home, but I kept my humanity. I was not born here, but this is my country.
This is my country, just as sure as it is yours. It's a land of bridges and opening doors. This is my country, heard the lady of the harbor call, proclaiming liberty and justice for all. I was not born here, but this is my country. Every family knows its history. I think I heard your great-grandfather telling me I was not born here, but this is my country. And as I take my oath, nobody will disagree. I was not born here, but this is my country. I was not born here, but this is my country.